Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be painting a little mini sunset. You can see how mini here. This is I think about maybe 3/4 of an inch squared, and it's actually really challenging to paint on a surface this small because you have to have so much detail. So we're going to do a nice simple sunset here just to start. So I'm going to start with a nice layer of yellow. I'm just going to paint the whole thing yellow. Now, when you're painting with wood, if you don't mind that kind of natural transparency of the wood, you don't need to necessarily do lots of layers. I do recommend, though, doing 2 layers of the yellow, partly because this is untreated wood and the wood is a little bit porous. So I'm going to start off with this guy. So this is going to dry. Here we have some yellow down already, and this is nice and dry. So I'm going to do my next layer here. You do need your yellow to be wet if you're going to do a soft blend. So I have nice amount of wet paint. And then just with the very tip of my brush, you can see how little red I have here. This is very small. I'm going to do a little strip of red on the top, and I'm just going to go back and forth and pull it down just a little bit. Here we go. I think I'm going to go a little more aggressive with my red there. Again, just a little bit on the tip. Oops, that got a little more aggressive than I wanted it to. But, you know, not bad. Not bad. A little streaky. I like it. Now I'm going to flip it around. Do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to clean my brush. There we go. Get that little bit of red and then go back and forth. And again, you want to just go back and forth to get that blend. That nice blend. It's blending a little too much. Just going to clean my brush again, and then I'll just do a nice soft blend. The bottom of my brush is still void of red, so it should be a nice blending surface. So I've managed to blend that out pretty good now. So we have a little bit of red on the top, nice glowing center, and then we have a little bit of red on the bottom as well. I'm just going to put this down here. I'm going to have to zoom because it's so small, so I'll try my best to paint in frame. And now what I'm going to use is a very small detail brush. So here is my 10/0 brush. You can see the point on that is very fine. So I'm going to paint in a little bit of a horizon line. I don't want it to be too aggressive, so I'm going to mute my red with some yellow. And I'm just going to go, let's go right here and just drop in a horizon line. So we're going to do a water scene today. Nice little water scene. So there's my horizon line. And I think I'll add just a bit of texture to my water. So just using the very tip of my brush, I'm just kind of dragging in a little bit of waves here. You can see I'm getting darker with my red as I go down. I got a little bit too aggressive there. So I'm going to mute that with my yellow. So just doing some nice soft blends here. So it's okay to be a bit choppy with this because water is not straight lines. It's more organic. So getting those nice organic waves are totally fine. So just using my 2 colors and kind of switching between the 2 of them here. A little bit more red over here. There we go. Just getting some nice kind of waves in there. And now I'm going to add in my land. So I have some black up here. I know it's so zoomed in you can't even see my palette, hey? So here we go. I'm going to be using my black, just a teeny bit on the tip of my brush. And then I'm actually going to pull in from the side here because it's a little thicker on the outside. There we go. Now I'm going to turn it around and I'm just going to do a straight line along my horizon. And this is going to be the base of my land. And then I'm going to just go up a little bit like that. So that gives me a little hill on that side. And I'm going to go and do the same thing over here. There we go. I want that tip to be touching the water, so I'll just move it in a little bit. And I'm doing a symmetrical painting today, at least mainly symmetrical, and I usually don't do this. But, you know, when you have a small canvas like this, sometimes it's just easier to do symmetry, so that's what we're doing today. I'm adding in just a little bit of reflection. So the reason that I'm doing these lines is just I'm breaking up that reflection from the hill that we have there, because in real life water moves and that breaks up reflection, so you don't want your reflection to be too perfect. There we go. So some kind of wavy reflections in there. It kind of keeps trying to focus on something else here. These ones got a bit thick, so I'm just going to match it over here. These ones are a bit too good, too perfect. There we go. Nice little reflection there. And now we're going to add in some small blades of grass. I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to my paint here. I already have very thin paint. I'm using crafter paint. But if you thin it down just a little bit, it's going to be easier to get those really fine lines. And you need a very steady hand for this. Plus you need a good tip on your brush. I'm just going to take that little loose hair off there. So really look at your brush, make sure it's got a good point to it. Even a small brush, if it's frayed, will not give you a nice fine line. And then I'm just going to barely touch my canvas. And it's going to give me some nice fine lines. There we go. And you can see I'm crossing some of them over. I'm going to turn my painting around, pick up just a smidge more paint. There we go. So I'm going to do the ones coming this way first, and I don't want them to all feel the same. Well, that's actually too thin, believe it or not. Beef that one up a bit. And I'm going to do a few more coming this way. And we don't want to do too many here. Again, our painting surface is not huge. And I think I will add just a few little blades of grass down here for texture. So, you know, these are, we're taking this picture here from the shoreline. So we're standing on the shore, but we can still see a little bit of the smaller grass poking up. We don't want it to be all long grass here. Here we go. Now we're going to add a little bit of texture to the tips of our grass, kind of like if they were wheat or something. So we still want to use that nice watered down paint. And we're going to use these teeny little feathered brush strokes. Just it keeps on trying to focus on my hand because it's so small here. Just little tiny brush strokes like that. You don't want too many. It's very hard to get a nice soft edge here. But if you go right to the shaft of the grass and then you just kind of flick your brush out, you should be able to get that a little bit there. I have trying not to overcrowd my painting, so I'm not adding too much in here. I'm just going to do one more here. I think this needs to just be a little thicker. Again, very, very, very fine brush. You need a fine brush. You could use a toothpick, I think, and that would work as well. Maybe not so much for the lines. I could see you using like a really fine tipped pen, like a micron pen would work. Anything that's kind of water resistance, I think, would be good. And you can see these feel nice and light, so the air, the light is still able to travel through them. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. I'll add a little bit to this one, but not too much. There, so nothing's overcrowded there. So that's already got really nice base. Oh, you know what? I'll add just a little bit here. This will go right off the page, I think. There we go. Nice and natural. And now we want to add in our sun. So you need to make sure that your brush is 100% clean. And I like to add a smidge of white to my yellow just to warm it up. So here again is my palette. I'll just move everything over. So I'm just going to put a little hint of yellow, and then I'm going to pick up white and just do a little bit of a blend. And then I'm just going to do a little circle here. Now you could use a bigger brush and just do a dab. That's probably the easier way to do it, but I'm just going to paint in a little circle right above the horizon line. And then I want to, again, thin that paint down a little bit. So I'm going to take some off my brush, and then I'm just going to do some lines coming out from the sun. And they're going to get a little bit smaller as they go out. You do want them to be centered with your sun. So just make sure that the tip of your reflection is centered with your sun. There we go, and that's our little sunset. Here it is beside a marble. Here it is beside a typical sharpener. I can do a measure via centimeters just to show you how small we are. So we're looking at almost 2 centimeters, which I believe is about 3/4 of an inch big. But yeah, there's our little sunset. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I love painting these for my daughter. She keeps them in her dollhouse. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a good day.